about to get underway here, and as you can see, the drivers are just heading out onto the grid. Now we have Fraser Fenwick starting on pole position and Aaron Sparrow starting on second. Now these are two drivers, James, that haven't started on pole position before, but we have got Clive Powell, Ivan Leary, Charlie Rawls starting right behind them, and they're firm favourites, you know, in the Bs. They know what they're doing. So my question to you is, how would you feel in that situation?
Well, they're probably going to have their eyes in the mirrors at the start there, especially in the first few corners. Experience counts in this game, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting start between them.
Right, well, I think we're going to have quite a lot of action to look forward to here, so let's jump straight into it and hand it over to Andy McEwen.
Thanks, Lindsay. Well, it's Fraser Fenwick on pole for this one then, with Adam Sparrow alongside. Clive Chisnall is the lead Masters driver on the grid, with Charlie Rawls alongside on row 2. Then it's Ivan Leary, who missed out on the promotion spots in the previous race. Stuart Ross French alongside him, ahead of Alan Hawkins and Jack Lemmer, with Nick Ledoyen and Bruce Robinson rounding out the top 10. Then it's Tom Mallett and Christian Dan, Richard Bartlett and Christopher Ginn, with Luke Such and Barry Liversidge next up on the 8th row. Row 9 for Pete Lancaster and Adam Tyler. Row 10 for Ian Whitewick and Michael Pearce. Then it's Charles Medwin and Jonathan Fieldsend, James Love and Aaron DeNapola, who was the first of the non-finishers in race 1. Pete Tyler was also a non-finisher, whilst Jake Stiles was disqualified, so starts from the back, but should move forward. Well, we're in for another lively race, I am sure. We're ready to go racing here then for the second time this weekend in Group B, and it's not a good start made by the front row men, and that means the second row men both go for the same gap and clatter into each other. Let's hope they all survive that without too much contact and damage. On the run towards the first corner though, it is going to be 3 abreast for the race lead. Is it going to be Charlie Rawls that gets it? Yes, it is. Charlie Rawls into the lead of the race then, as they turn through Rich's corner. Not a good start for Ivan Leary. Look, he's behind Bruce Robinson now, and in fact behind quite a few drivers. Remember, he started 5th, did Ivan Leary. Black and red car on the inside line there, about 4 or 5 cars back on the inside line. Has lost quite a bit of ground into the Wilson hairpin though. He could be about to gain some of that back. Everyone through here cleanly, 1 or 2 running a bit wide, but it's quite a calm start. Jake Stiles not so much towards the back of the field. No doubt about it though, Charlie Rawls leads the way in the grey and fluorescent yellow machine. There's Clive Chisnall applying the pressure to the 28 car of Jack Lemmer, who's had a good start from 8th on the grid. Dropping down the hill then towards Agostini, and like it is Fraser Fenwick in 2nd position there. And all Chisnall up the inside. That was a nice move, and he just made it stick, but he did get the car stopped through the tight left-hander at Agostini. 3-1-2 further back is Pete Lancaster going up the inside of the 180, which is Pete Tyler from the back row of the grid. Pete Tyler's had a good start, the white and purple number 180 car, excuse me, from the very back of the grid after a non-finish in yesterday's first B race. So through Oggies now. Back up to right-hander at Williams, and Clive Chisnall, one of the big losers then from that start line skirmish. He got a good start but had nowhere to go, and Charlie Rawls from the outside of row 1 was able to go through, row 2 was able to go through into the race lead. Chisnall from the inside of row 2 had to slam on the brakes to avoid a more significant collision. Actually ended up losing further ground. The rating is Adam Tyler there on the outside, who is the son, I believe, of Pete Tyler. Top 2, nose to tail, and Fraser Fenwick in fact going up the inside there and retaking the race lead. That was a nice move. Charlie Rawls, I don't think, saw that coming, and he will now try and fight back on the exit of the corner into the bomb hole and goes back through. So 2 lead changes in 2 corners. That's Mazda MX-5 racing for you. Number 19 Adam Sparrow, the purple car, trying to join in the fun as well. Looking to the inside, Stuart Ross French I think is the man in 4th as they come through to the final corner of this opening lap, clobbering the curbs for all of them, and then back along the pit straight once again. Charlie Rawls didn't like being mugged like that through Nelson, so forced straight back up the inside of the bomb hole, which is not a corner you see an awful lot of overtaking at. Across the line, and side by side now for 2nd place as Adam Sparrow starts to regroup after losing a bit of ground at the start. He's already back into 3rd. Now he's challenging for 2nd round the outside of Fraser Fenwick. Can he go right round the outside of Rich's corner? That's a brave move to make. Instead, cuts back to the late apex maybe to try and attack into the Wilson hairpin. I don't think he'll quite be able to do it. Clive Chisnall, meanwhile, has got himself ahead of Stuart Ross French by looks like, yes, the silver and green striped car into 4th position. Now, in fact, into 3rd position, goes up the inside of Adam Sparrow. That was a really good move, and bouncing along the grass there is Jack Lemmer, unfortunately, the black and green number 28 car. But yeah, Clive Chisnall on a real move, but then weirdly ends up back behind Adam Sparrow into the next corner, and Sparrow goes up the inside of Fraser Fenix. So he had briefly gained that position, but then ends up losing it again. And in fact, it is Sparrow who's now looking likely to move into second place, because he's got the inside line at Agostini. Gets to the apex first. He's all arms and elbows though. That'll hurt his exit speed, and Chisnell could yet get up the inside of both of them. And oh, all of a sudden Sparrow slows. Is that a missed gear, or is there a problem with the car? I think it was a missed gear, because he's picked up pace again now. But look at the time it lost him, and it was a miracle that no one ran into the back of him actually. So a bit of a lucky save there for him. That could have been a lot worse. Lemmer's up the inside now of Christian Dan, the blue number 27 car, losing a position. But Christian started 12th, so a bit like in race 1 where he gained a lot of ground early on. He has been able to gain places in the opening lap or so. This has been equally as lively as the start of the previous race, if not more so. We've still got over half of it to go as well, so more fantastic action from the Mazda MX-5 Championship. These cars may not be being driven by the drivers who are fighting for the outright championship, but they're still out there fighting for race victories, and arguably because they don't have to worry about points, they have nothing to lose. They're just out there to try and get a few race wins, which is the joy of this split grid system. Even if you're only qualifying in the 30s, you still have a chance of winning a race or two over the weekend. Christian Dan then trying to fight back on the inside of Jack Lemmer, who's gone back ahead of him now as they turn through the bomb hole. There, Clive Chisnell ahead now of Stuart Ross French. So Chisnell, one of the fastest drivers out there at the moment. Lemmer was all out of shape as he went into Murray's, and he was still out of shape as he came out of it. But he's actually still quicker off the corner than Christian Dan, who now has Adam Sparrow pulling alongside him. The outside line goes Adam, but Dan has the tow from Jack Lemmer in front of him, so should be able to hang on. Race leader, let me remind you, is Charlie Rawls still. Second place, Fraser Fennick. Third place then for Clive Chisnell. Dan does keep Adam Sparrow behind. This trio of cars still absolutely nose to tail though as they go down to Wilson. Tight right-hander, renamed a few years ago after the late Justin Wilson. Previously the Montreal hairpin. But the circuit, the corner names here, most of them named after famous racing drivers or motorsport personalities. Palmer's there, named after the Vision boss, Jonathan Palmer, circuit owner Jonathan Palmer. Agostini, of course, named after Giacomo Agostini, and that is the place that Adam Sparrow will attempt to make his move on Christian Dan, to no avail. Now, here are a couple of drivers that I thought we might see further up the order. Ivan Leary there, just ahead of Bruce Robinson. Now, Bruce Robinson was given an 8-second time penalty after the previous race, dropping back behind Nick Ledoyen, who he assaulted rather rudely at the hairpin. So that dropped him down into 11th place, but he's not really been able to make the sort of progress from that position you might have expected. And just in front of him, Ivan Leary, who started 5th and just missed out on a transfer spot after race 1. And yet again, he has not really been able to overtake anyone in this race. Leary started 6th, in fact he's lost ground from the start and hasn't yet been able to gain it back. So a few drivers there that are just how competitive this field is actually. It's a little bit of trap position, it's not that easy to gain it back. Adam Sparrow is trying to gain some back against Christian Dan here, and he is finally going to go through, I think, on the inside at Brundle. And yeah, just gets the car stopped. It's always a tricky part of the circuit there. It's no surprise that that is a popular place to have a spin. Braking and turning, and it's bumpy, and then you've got to turn the car the other direction. It's exactly the same sort of thing that you have to do coming out of this corner through Murray's and into the braking zone, through Corham and into the braking zone of Murray's. We've done a few times actually around the Snetterton 300 circuit, brake on a turn and then transfer all of the weight to the other side of the car as you turn in the opposite direction for the next corner. That's those sort of sudden weight shifts that can very easily rotate the car. Sparrow, having got past Christian Dan, wasting no time in attacking Jack Lemmer now, so is this going to be another place game into riches possibly? He has his nose in front. How hard will Lemmer fight this? Fairly hard, I think, will be the answer. Sparrow is going to find himself on the edge of the road if he's not too careful, and yep, Lemmer does indeed hold firm. The inside, but Lemmer again moves over to defend, so that answers my question. He's going to defend this quite heavily if he can. He's entitled to do so as well. Why should he roll over and let Adam Sparrow through? In fact, Adam was in the A grid for race 1 and Jack Lemmer wasn't. It plays absolutely no bearing on how he should race him, but in the end, Sparrow does make his move. And that might actually be beneficial to Brewer now, because if he tags onto the back of Adam, they could possibly both go after Stuart Ross-French in front. Not necessarily what's happening though, because Jack Lemmer is back alongside now into Agostini, forcing the number 19 car to defend. That will slow them both up through the middle of the corner, and in the end the place didn't change anyway, so there wasn't much point in doing that. But Jack Brewer feeling the need to go on the attack here. Again, novice cross on the back of his car though, and it's all of these little racing drivers' tricks that you will learn the longer you spend out on the racetrack, the more races you compete in, and you'll learn sometimes that there are some fights that it's not worth getting involved with. If the other driver is quicker than you, let them go, follow them, and try and use their toe, especially around a circuit like this where the slipstream is worth well over half a second a lap. So if you're maybe 0.4 of a second slower than someone per lap, to stay in the toe, you should be able to stay with them, and both of you can then catch the cars in front. But that is the fight for 5th, so it's the final transfer spot, which possibly explains why Jack Brewer is fighting so tooth and nail for it. But if they both catch the next car in front, which is Stuart Ross-French, then they could both get past him and get into the top 5. So swings and roundabouts, but these are things that are very easy for me to think of, sat here in the comfort of my commentary box. But when you're strapped into one of these cars in the heat of the moment, all you see is another car in front of you that you want to be behind you. And that is very much the attitude that Jack Brewer seems to have, and he's falling back now slightly from Adam Sparrow, who seems really good through this final sector. He's able to gap the 28 car slightly at the end of this lap. Christian Dan likewise is falling away behind them too. Christian finished 12th in the previous race, Jack Lemmer was 8th, so, or 9th, excuse me, for Lemmer, and Dan was 13th, so almost right. So it was indeed Lemmer who was quicker in the previous race, so he should be able to hang on to that place. Behind them, meanwhile, Alan Hawkins and Ivan Leary are still dicing away. Then here, Bruce Robinson has got the number 10 car. That is, it's not going around the outside. Yes, it is. And that is a move that does not work for Tom Mallett through Ridges. So Bruce Robinson finding it rather difficult now to get back as high up the order as he ran in race 1B. Over the leading 2, by the way. And Fraser Fenwick not quite giving up the chase here. He is lapping fractionally quicker than Charlie Rawls. Clive Chisnall can't quite go with them in 3rd. 4th place then for Stuart Ross-French. 5th for Adam Sparrow. One of the fascinations of the remaining half of this race is going to be how much further up the order he can get. Then it is Lemmer, then Christian Dan, then Hawkins, Leary, Robinson and Mallett. Everybody else cycling through behind. See here some of the gaps that are built up through the middle of the field, and then here a nice battle going on a bit further back. And who do we find at the head of this particular group? That is a very big lock-up there for Barry Liversidge, who runs out wide and opens the door maybe for the number 99 car to get up the inside, Ian Whitewick. In the end, the 2 black cars I think stay in the same order, but that's a nice little 5 or 6 car train with Jake Stiles not far behind them, having started off the back of the grid. Jake in the turquoise car, 6th in shot just there, is not really making the sort of headway you might expect. Michael Pearce there, the orange and black number 70 car. He's one of Jake's next targets, if Jake can ever get to this group, which he has sort of done now. Jake's had a frustrating season, really. Caught up in some contact at Brands Hatch at the start of the season, and that really dented his season, it seemed, in total. He just hasn't really been able to get the results out of the year that we expected of him. And then the disqualification in the previous race, unfortunately, not helping him out either. Get to the inside, though, will gain a position here, maybe at the expense of Michael Pearce. But Michael's got the inside for Nelson, the right-hander. Stiles goes round the outside, though, and, yeah, clears him before Bonham. So one more position goes Jake Stiles at least. This is a bit of a weekend to forget so far for Jake. Looks like we'll be languishing amongst the B runners for the entire weekend now, because his chances of progressing to the A group in this race are dwindling. And after this race, in race 3, there are no more promotional spots available. So yeah, frustrating weekend for Jake. There goes Michael Pearce through. Good-looking car, that I have to say, the orange and black livery. Streaks across the start-finish line. To another lap, well into the second half of this race now then. Liversidge still towards the front of that group, but it looks as though Ian Whitewick has gone past him now. Then there is number 80 which is Adam Tyler. Meanwhile, back inside the top 5, well, this is the fight for 4th position now between Stuart Ross French and Adam Sparrow, and Ross French runs wide at Agostini and hands the position on a plate to Sparrow. I hope that isn't the start of an issue there for Ross French. I think he just outbraked himself, but he has dropped back significantly from Adam Sparrow. Sparrow on this flight to the front of the field, it would seem. He's into 4th now. Has he got time to catch Clive Chisnall for 3rd? Wouldn't bet against it. Williams, back onto the back straight. Number 19 car looking splendid here in the summer sunshine. Going strongly as well. And he did start on the front row. He was in the A group earlier on, so you'd expect him to have this pace, I suppose. It's just been rather a frustrating race after the issues at the start. Neither he or Fraser Fenwick, front row starters, had a particularly good getaway. Oh, he plays through Brundle and Nelson, over the grass, over the curbs. That'll be a track limit strike if ever I saw one. As long as he doesn't continue to do it, he should avoid getting a time penalty. You can see the gap to Chisnall, though, is fairly substantial, so I think 4th place may be as good as it gets here, possibly for Adam Sparrow. That is enough. The question now will be whether Stuart Ross French can hang on to 5th, because there you can see Jack Lemmer is not far behind him. And the 28 car on this lap, I think, is going to be significantly quicker than the 173 car in front of him. Leading 2 though, back down to Agostini. Fenwick. Now, is he going to be able to mount a legitimate challenge here, I wonder, to Charlie Rawls? Does he want to mount a legitimate challenge? I'm sure if he sees the chance to go through, he will, but they won't want to throw away a top 2 finish. Mind you, we said that about Graham Rumsey in the previous race, and he did just that. Threw away 2nd place after trying to get the lead back, so maybe Fraser Fenwick might just have that in mind, knowing that 2nd place is still more than enough to transfer, but it's a difficult balancing act, this, especially given the fact that most of the drivers in these B groups are not the most experienced, so if you present them with an opportunity to win a race, they're going to go for it, and they'd much rather go home and tell their friends and family they won a race than they finished 2nd and got a transfer spot to the A group, because that doesn't really mean much, but saying that you won a race at Snetterton sounds a whole lot more impressive. And so Fraser, if he sees the opportunity to do so, I think will be able to go through, or will have a go at going through, I should say. Whether he's able to do it is another matter entirely, but he's had a good exit there from Nelson, and Charlie Rawls now, for the first time really all race, is having to legitimately watch his mirrors for fear of an attack coming from the 2nd place man. Across the start-finish line we go again then, penultimate lap I believe this is beginning. Charlie Rawls heads through the first corner, not that far ahead. Fraser Fenwick now. Into braking. It's the scary tree into Wilson, and inch perfect there for both of them, really, through the apex of the corner. Slightly more so for Rawls, and that tells on the exit. An extra car length or so over the blue 263 machine behind him. Arms them. Deceptively quick left-hander. Off camber, and the road sort of falls away from you on the exit, and then drop down again into Agostini. There's Clive Chisnall in the background. 3rd position. There you can really see the gap between the two of them come down under braking, but that's the natural competitive effect. They head back towards Hamilton once again, so no change in the order yet between the top 2. Top 5 looking fairly static now, it must be said. I think we may have our 5 transfer drivers. The main position that could change is 1st place though. So this is the battle to watch most definitely, as Fraser Fenwick now through the middle part of the lap seems to be closing in on Charlie Rawls again, so fascinating to see how different drivers seem to have strengths and weaknesses around the circuit, because they may be in the first sector, that's where Rawls have an edge, in the middle sector there Fenwick closes in, and that's the part of the circuit you want to be quick at, because it means that you're then close enough to get a toe down the back straight, which Fraser is getting. I don't think it'll bring him quite close enough to attack into Brundle and Nelson, but if he could just be a car length or so closer next time onto the back straight, that could make all the difference. Certainly occupying the attention of the race leader, carries a lot more speed into Nelson, look, and gets it through the corner neatly as well, so that's definitely a part of the circuit that Fenwick has a bit of an edge at. Brundle and Nelson a bit more confident maybe braking on a turn, and then with the change of direction as well that we spoke about earlier on, which means he may be beneficial through here as well. And indeed carries more corner speed into Murray's, and now he's most definitely close enough as we come out onto the start-finish line. I think they're about to see the last lap board this time as well, and Charlie Rawls under all sorts of pressure now from Fraser Fenwick. There is a black and white flag being held aloft, but we are indeed going on to the final lap of the race now, so last lap begins, and nose to tail between the leading two. Fraser Fenwick really starting to apply the pressure and ask all of the right questions of Charlie Rawls now. Rich's corner they go, and a good exit from Rich's there for the second place man. He's certainly close enough to have a go into the hairpin, and the race leader Charlie Rawls knows it, moves over to the right hand side to defend. Too slow on the exit, he should hang on, but he's a bit sideways, almost got a bit of tap in the tail there from Fenwick. I think they just avoided contact, but Fraser definitely quicker off the corner. And this is the part of the circuit where maybe Rawls has had an edge, or at least in the previous lap that we were following that we did. Fenwick can just stay with him though, get that toe down the back straight, might be able to get alongside into Brundle and Nelson. Or maybe even have a go before that, had a real look at the inside, and Rawls had to move over to cover. That means he outbrakes himself slightly, and Fenwick almost pries the door open. This is tantalising stuff. Fraser Fenwick throwing everything at this now, really forcing the issue without really forcing the issue, if you see what I mean. He's definitely making the race leader defend, but he's not taking any undue risks at the moment. But he is getting close enough that Charlie Rawls is having to drive more defensive lines. That's slowing him down, stopping his possibility of pulling away. Fenwick, I would say, is closer at this part of the circuit than he was a lap ago. We're heading into the part of the circuit where he is strongest now, through the final sector. No doubt about it, on the previous lap he was able to carry a lot more speed through this next couple of corners, but I'm not convinced he's close enough to really challenge through Brundle and Nelson this time. Clive Chisnall, you can see third. In the background, Adam Sparrow was having to defend his fourth place from Stuart Ross French again, who has caught him, but all eyes on the leading two as they bounce their way through Nelson. Another nice run there for Fenwick, slightly scrappy for Charlie Rawls. Gets two wheels in the dirt. The next couple of corners aren't really overtaking opportunities. It's all going to be about the run out of the final turn and to the start-finish line. And Fenwick could not be any closer, pulls almost alongside, forces Rawls to defend, and Fenwick has a better exit, but nowhere to go with it. He wanted to commit to that, but I think he wanted to avoid any contact as well, and so Charlie Rawls will just about do enough, I reckon, to hang on to the victory, but it's been a brilliant battle between the two of them. Charlie Rawls takes the victory in race 2B, Fraser Fenwick is second, third will go to Clive Chisnall, and I think Stuart Ross French is back ahead of Adam Sparrow for fourth. Yes, he is. So confirmation of the result then, it's Rawls, Fenwick, Chisnall, French and Sparrow who will progress in that order. Jack Lemmer is sixth, Alan Hawkins seventh, then Ivan Leary, Christian Dan and Bruce Robinson round out the top 10. Tom Mallet and Aaron Danapola are next, Danapola coming from the back of the grid. Christopher Ginn is 13th, ahead of Luke Such and Pete Tyler, whilst Pete Lancaster was the only non-finisher from that race in what was a very clean but entertaining second race of the weekend.
What a blinding race for you. Please talk me through it.
Well, it all kicked off on the start line, you probably all see from the footage, but yeah, I thought I was going round when me and Clive went for the same gap off the start, and like I said, I think I could see every other car out my right-hand window for a moment, so I just kept my throttle on, hopefully sort of made it out the pack, and yeah, it was sort of, I wouldn't say plain sailing, because we were caught up at the end there and a bit of pressure was put on, but yeah, we made it to the end, and yeah, onwards to the A race. So.
Fraser, huge congratulations from us. You started first, come second, but you've got to be happy with that performance.
Yeah, really happy with it. You know, the team built an amazing car in just a couple of weeks that we had before coming here. It's quite a short stint, but it was very happy with the car, how the car handled throughout the 20-minute race. Very good.
Clive, you put up a hell of a performance in that race. Quickly talk me through.
Yeah, it was a really awkward start. Unfortunately, Charlie and I were both going for the same gap. I think here at Snetterton, seeing the start lights is really difficult if you're on the front row. So he just didn't set off. So Charlie and I just tried to go for the gap. And unfortunately, whilst he did get a bit sideways, he did come out of it slightly better than me and held it all the way to the end. So all credit to the guy.